For your silence. The person I'm introducing next is Arlinda Smith. She is the other hand to moi, sometimes known as Ken. Dressed in red because of her brightness. Wherever Arlinda goes, she leaves love. She's the person with a caring heart. She's the person who keeps this club going and us improving as the Director of Education, which she was voted in at the final board meeting under my administration in perpetuity. She's extraordinary at that job, and she's extraordinary as a speaker. Today, our speaker loves to tell stories to children and the elderly. She has always been fond of folk tales. Today, please pretend you are a group of kindergartners. This is not a stretch for this group. Listening to Arlinda tell you a story. Please help me introduce Arlinda Smith. Billy Goats, I'm sorry, the three Billy Goats, Gruff, Arlinda Smith, the three Billy Goats.
Good morning, children. It's so wonderful to be here with you. And as you can see, I brought my seniors with me, and some of you are sitting in their laps, and some of you are sitting next to them, and you're all smiling and having a good time. My story today is about three brothers. Dina, how many siblings do you have?
One sister.
One sister. How about you, Jim?
2 sisters, 2 brothers.
2 sisters and 2 brothers. And Conda?
One brother.
Well, my story today is about 3 brothers. Once upon a time, there were the 3 Billy Goats, Gruff. There was little Billy. He was the baby of the family. And he was a very white color. And all he had was these little nibs of horns on his head. They hadn't grown yet. And then there was middle Billy. He was a little bit bigger, the second child. He was a tan color, but he had these big brown spots on him, all over his body that looked like cow turds. And his horns were a little bit bigger than little Billy's. And then finally there was the oldest, Big Billy. And he was kind of a, we call it sienna color, which is a brown and a red all mixed together. And he was big in stature, and he had the biggest horns. Oh, they go like that, really. The biggest horns. Well, the 3 Billy Goats, Gruff, spent their days climbing on the rocks, as ghosts like to do. Ma, ma, they say, ma. Also, they would climb on the beautiful, beautiful green hills that were starting to turn brown because of lack of water, which we call a drought. And they enjoyed their days, enjoyed walking around together, eating the grass. Well, one day, they decided to go across the old rickety brown bridge. They weren't even sure the bridge would hold their weight. It was so old. But, uh-oh, there was one problem. Ma. Oh. And that problem was that there was an old mean troll that lived under that bridge. The troll had a big pointy head with little hair sticking out on his head, and he had big grumpy looking eyes. They were all bloodshot all the time. And he rolled his eyes, rolled his eyes. He looked pretty gruff. So Big Billy said, "Nah, walk very slowly over that bridge to make sure it will hold our weight." So little Billy started walking across the bridge very, very slowly. Clomp, clomp, clomp. But then he heard that gruff voice. Little Billy's shaking. The troll jumped up on the bridge and he said, "Stop! Stop right there, because I am going to eat you up." And he was drooling at the mouth and his eyes were rolling around. And little Billy said, "No, no, please." This is what a goat does to show signs of protection. "No, no, please, don't eat me. Wait for Middle Billy, my brother, because he has more meat on his bones and he will taste a lot better than I will. Please, Mr. Troll." Mr. Troll put his hands on his hips and he says, "Well, that sounds good. Okay." And little Billy ran off over the bridge. Clippity-clop, 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 clippity-clop. And here comes Middle Billy, over the bridge slowly. Clomp, clomp, clomp. And then Middle Billy hears that voice and sees the troll jump up on the bridge. "Stop! Stop right there," says the troll, "because I am going to eat you up." Trying to sound gruff, you know. And Middle Billy says, "No, no, Mr. Troll, don't eat me. Wait for my brother, Big Billy. He's really big and hefty and there's lots of meat on him, Mr. Troll. He'll be a better meal for you." Mr. Troll shakes his head, rolls his eyes around, and says, "Well, okay, that does sound like the best idea." Middle Billy, shaking, runs off across the bridge. Clippity-clop, 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 clippity-clop. And here's Big Billy in all his grandeur. He starts across the bridge very slowly too. Clomp, 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 clomp. But Big Billy is no fool. Remember, he's been around for a long, long time. And then he hears that gruff voice. And the troll jumps right in front of Big Billy. And he says, "Stop right there, Big Billy, because I am going to eat you up." And Big Billy, who's no fool, says, "Okay," but he has a sneaky little plan for Mr. Troll. And as soon as the troll turns around to make sure that nobody else is around to help him, what does Big Billy do? He goes like this, and he runs real fast, and he rams the troll with his big horns. And the troll goes off into the water with a big splash. And after that, the three Billy Goat's Gruff brothers had no problem at all with the troll when they wanted to cross that bridge. And they crossed that bridge often to eat that sweet green grass on the other side.